Hi guys and welcome back to Slice of Mike. Today I'm doing my most anticipated books of 2015 list, and I realize it's probably later than every other list out there, but I'm trying here, I'm sorry. Anyways, these books are organized chronologically and they're only for the winter, so hopefully I'll have 3 more lists up throughout the year. So the first book on my list is Fairest by Marissa Meyer. It comes out January 27th, and I'm not going to say anything about it because everybody's said so much about it already. It's one of my favorite ongoing series right now, and before I joined BookTube, I didn't realize that everybody else had already read it too. Next on my list is the Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. It's the second in the series. It starts with the Bone Season, which I haven't read yet. I tried reading the synopsis for Mime Order, but it's written in secret code or something. I couldn't get my head around it. It has all these special names in it, and they don't even try to tell you what it's about, so I don't know. I can't help you there. Next on my list is A Cold Legacy by Megan Shepherd. It's the third in the series, which is based on popular works of classic horror. The first book draws inspiration from The Island of Dr. Moreau, the second book talks about Jekyll and Hyde, and the third book is based on Frankenstein, I think. Admittedly, I'm a bit hot and cold about the series. It has some really cool moments, but overall, I only felt lukewarm about the first 2 books. However, I'll finish it because I hate leaving things unfinished. I love classic horror, and it's fun to see how the author reworks elements of those stories into her own stories, so I'm looking forward to it overall. Next on my list is Trigger Warning by Neil Gaiman. It's the newest short story collection from him. I'm assuming you know who Neil Gaiman is because he's a super huge author, but he is the guy behind Stardust and Coraline and all these other books that have been made into movies and are just really good stories. And he's definitely one of the top fantasy writers still working today, so I'll read anything by him. Next is a book called Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Again, this book has been getting a lot of attention, so I won't tell you too much about it. It sounds like it's going to be Shadow and Bone-ish, so I liked that, and I'm looking forward to this. Next on my list is Half the World by Joe Abercrombie. This is the second book in his Shattered Seas trilogy. In the first book in the series, a prince sets out to take back the throne from his usurping uncle, and in the second one, a new character is introduced, and somehow the first character and this character interact. I don't really know, but I love Joe Abercrombie. If you haven't read the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie, you don't know what you're missing. It's recommended for fans of George R. R. Martin, and you should be a fan of George R. R. Martin for sure. Next on my list is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, and everybody in the world except me seems to have an advanced copy of this book, so I'm probably going to be the last person to talk about it. I'm fine with that. It seems like a really cool book. I love the concept of this alternate London reality thing, so I'm looking forward to it whether or not I'm the first person to get my hands on it. Next is a book called Act of God by Jill Simont, which tells the story of 4 women living in New York during the outbreak of some mysterious glowing mushroom that starts killing people. It sounds super goofy, and it's described as being both humorous and horrifying, and I love that combination. The cover, to be honest, grosses me out, although it looks awesome, and it reminds me a lot of The Last of Us, which is a video game I'm sure many of you have played. The next book on my list comes out March 3rd, and it is The Boy Who Lost Fairyland by Catherine M. Valenti, and she is my goddess, my absolute goddess. This is my absolute favorite series, finished or unfinished, and I want everybody to read it at some point in their lives. Next is a book called The Fire Sermon by Francesca Haig, and this comes out March 10th. It has a super intriguing premise. It takes place in post-apocalyptic America. Everybody in this future society is born with a twin. There's the Alpha, who is physically perfect, and the Omega, who is deformed or maimed in some way. The Alphas go off and form their super wonderful society, and the Omegas are basically left to fend for themselves. But some of the Omegas are born with weird powers that leads to the possibility of an uprising at some point in the future, so I think that sounds really cool, and I'm excited to read the first book when it comes out. Next on the list is Shadow Scale by Rachel Hartman, which is a sequel to Serafina, and I'm reading that right now, so that's very timely. I'm loving Serafina, so I'm sure I'll enjoy this sequel as well when it comes out in March. And last on the list is Half Wild by Sally Green, which comes out March 24th. This is the second book in her series, which starts with Half Bad. Let me just say that Sally Green's nickname is the next J.K. Rowling, and I kind of take offense to that because there will never be another J.K. Rowling, and there doesn't need to be. And when I read Half Bad, I was expecting it to be a lot like Harry Potter, and it's not, so I think it's sad when you have expectations going into a book when really you shouldn't be comparing anything to Harry Potter because that is the Holy Grail. It's nothing like that at all, and I think you just have to appreciate it for what it is. That is the end of my list for winter 2015, and if you guys have any books to add to the list or ones that you think I've overlooked, please let me know about it in the comments section. And I'll be back with another video on Monday, so I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye!